Welcome back to more Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Last time we got the remaining fruits in the tropical wilds, so this time we're moving on to the Twilight River. Alright, let's go with 50 winged Pikmin and 50 blue Pikmin. We have 5 more fruits to find in this area, and on PNF44 in general. Today should be relatively straightforward, but as usual, we have to start out by clearing out some of the enemies that have respawned since our last visit. That is actually a problem, so let's swap over to the winged Pikmin and knock it out of the sky and finish off that fight. With the flighty Joust Mite out of the way, we want to split into 2 groups. We'll have Alf take the blue Pikmin, and have Brittany take the winged Pikmin over to the cavern with the bridge pieces and the light bulb. With the blue Pikmin, we want to go across this bridge to the other side of the Twilight River. I specifically want to go this way because there are 2 desiccated skitter leaves that'll get in the way. To tell the truth, on almost every playthrough I've ever done of this game, including my practice playthroughs for this Let's Play, I've lost Pikmin and I've had to restart this day because of those skitter leaves. What would happen is, I take the other shortcut to this area past the Joust Mite, and forget about the skitter leaves. As Pikmin carry this fruit back, they'll pass by the other path and get picked off by the skitter leaves. In the water here, we have a Toady Bloister, and I feel like this is one of the enemies that is completely trivialized by 3's mechanics, given that in 2, you have to toss Pikmin up to its bulb, while in 3, you can simply charge the Pikmin and defeat it very quickly. With that taken care of, we'll have Alf and the other Pikmin return to the base, and we'll swap over to Brittany. In this cavern, we have this little watery path, and on the other side, we should have a few more fruits. We could get this with the blue Pikmin, and to be honest, I think you're intended to, given the blue pellet in the water, but it's actually a lot easier to get this with the winged Pikmin, given that instead of 3 water dumples, all you have to fight is 1 arachnode, which is a lot more straightforward. Before we leave, there's a data file in the water, and an Easter egg. On the base of this light bulb, there's actually a carving of a trio of yellow Pikmin. This does not count as a hidden mural, but I still wanted to point it out. It's a cool little Easter egg, and honestly, I'm actually surprised there isn't a separate achievement for finding that secret. With that taken care of, we want to swap back to Alf. We also want to deal with the iridescent flint beetle, so it doesn't lure any Pikmin into danger. And the final fruit should actually be relatively close by to the landing site. But first, I do want to deal with this. This is also our last chance to actually raise more Pikmin, so we'll definitely try to defeat a bunch of enemies and collect pellets before the end of the day. We want to go over here to the area with the dwarf orange bulb orbs. Once we take them out, the final fruit should be right over here at the base of this waterfall. And that takes care of all the fruits on PNF 404. We still have a lot of time left, so first of all, let's go looking for the hidden murals. I want to leave the Pikmin behind at the landing site, because again, sometimes they can get in the way of the photographs, and the first mural should be over here. This one is actually kind of tricky, because we're in motion as we try to get this photo. It's actually on the side of the tunnel here, so we basically have to wait for it to come into position. Conveniently, the next 2 hidden murals are both in this area. First up, we want to go to the pillar that had the bridge pieces in the water. There should be a hidden mural on the side of it. This is actually one of the trickier areas for hidden murals, because it's actually harder to spot them without going into first person using the camera. But the next one should be on this side over here. And the final hidden mural is also a little bit annoying to find. This one isn't because there's water obscuring it, it's because of the camera actually. It's actually on the path to the Scornet boss fight arena. Because the camera automatically is set to one position, it is very difficult to spot this on your own. My best advice would be to look for this little green patch over here, because it should be right over in this area. In this case, it also didn't help that it was raining, making it even harder to spot it on the side of that tree. But that takes care of all the hidden murals in the Twilight River. All we have left is 3 more murals in the final region on PNF 4-4. So with that taken care of, we're going to swap back to Brittany and round up the Pikmin. We are actually missing a Pikmin somewhere. It's actually over here. It must have gotten blown away by the puffy blowhog, so we're actually going to go over there and retrieve that Pikmin. I was really hoping to make that lily pad cycle actually, but unfortunately we were just a little bit too slow for that. Again, it's actually nice that we got so many fruits on our previous visits to the Twilight River, meaning we have plenty of time to wrap up everything in only one day, unlike the other areas where we actually took 2 days to take care of everything. Though to be fair, we also spent more time in the Twilight River to begin with on our first visit. It actually took multiple days because of building the first set of bridges to actually get to the winged Pikmin, and then building the next bridge to actually get to Louie's position. So with that taken care of, I think we're going to put away some of our Pikmin. Actually, first of all, I should probably deal with the Arachnode that'll get in the way as Pikmin try to carry berries back. Hypothetically, another way around this would be to simply use non-winged Pikmin to actually carry this back, but again, because this is actually our last chance to raise up our numbers, we might as well try to collect a few enemies. I do feel like fighting Arachnodes can be a little bit finicky sometimes. Sometimes the winged Pikmin don't lock on properly, and instead fly straight into the web and get stuck. So I do want to build up our Ultra Spicy Spray supply, even though, again, in theory, we shouldn't need more than 3, and most of that's just for an achievement, actually. I do want to have some backups just in case something goes wrong in this final area. Also, something worth mentioning, if you don't want to revisit another area, there should be one of these fluke weeds here that actually has some male sheargrubs, in case you wanted to collect some without going back to the tropical wilds. And speaking of which, I realized I actually didn't collect the Whip-Tongue Bulborb last time. There was a workaround for the Picklepedia though, and I actually got to verify that this does work. So we are good to go, and I will be able to show off all of the the completed Picklepedia at the end of this playthrough, but it would have been nice if I had actually collected it on screen, essentially. So I think I'm going to put away the winged Pikmin and the blue Pikmin because we have more winged and blue Pikmin than any other type right now. So as we try to collect things, I think it will make more sense to try to go with the other types, specifically yellow Pikmin. Not that we need that many Pikmin in general at this point, but it would be nice to have slightly more even numbers. Like, it'd be cool to have over 200 of every type of Pikmin. We also have a couple more Skater Leaves here. As much as I'd like to carry them back because they would give a lot of Pikmin, I don't think I'm feeling up to fighting 3 orange Bulborbs together, even with bombs. I can imagine that being very, very difficult. So we'll leave them alone, we'll let them sleep. But again, I do want to actually swap over to the other types of Pikmin, just to raise up our numbers in other areas. We also might as well round up those Pikmin on the way back, given that they're going to be passing through a loading zone that we just went through, so it'll just make more sense to wait until later. So that means we should take out, or we should put away 15 winged Pikmin because of the 5 that flew back over to the plant. Let's go with even numbers just to end off our final full day of exploration here in the Twilight River. Partly just because we really won't be seeing a lot of these Pikmin types again after this point. We actually have very little left that requires, for example, red Pikmin. Like, I'm pretty sure we won't see them for the rest of the main story, actually, even though there are definitely things that are intended to be done with them. To me, it just makes sense in a lot of cases to take care of tasks with other types of Pikmin. We obviously do need yellow Pikmin because their functions are a little bit more specific compared to the red Pikmin, which in a lot of cases can be circumvented with other types of Pikmin. Like, in this game in particular, most of the hazards involving fire are actually enemy-based, so you really don't need red Pikmin to, like, fight a fiery blowhog, for example. We have very few fire geysers. I can't even think of that many, to be honest. But you do have more electricity and water, comparatively, I'd say. Again, I would say the pyroclasmic slooches are some of the only enemies that would actually require red Pikmin for sure. Basically everything else you could do with rock Pikmin, for example, like fighting enemies. I've mentioned this a few times already, but again, I do wish they had balanced tasks a lot better. And again, we'll see that going into the final area, how imbalanced it can actually be. But it is a shame, given that I feel like as much grief as you could give Pikmin 2 for a lot of its design choices, I really wish you had more of an incentive to use all types of Pikmin in 3. But again, it's just kind of a consequence of having this many different types of Pikmin with all these unique attributes and trying to come up with like a balanced amount of tasks, like a fairly even assortment of tasks for everything. It would actually be a fairly difficult task, I'd imagine, to try to balance everything out. So I think that's all we can get in terms of sprays for now, or at least that's all I'll really need. I think our berry count is actually uneven because so few winged Pikmin were carrying berries back that one of them will actually, like, they started to grow back before they were able to collect one, meaning that there's basically an odd number now instead of the usual 10 of... The usual 10 needed to actually get a full bottle of spray, essentially. But once the winged Pikmin fly back, we are going to call them off. Actually, we might have to go back for them manually, just because there's only 5 of them. It's going to take a bit. But again, I would like to flower all of my Pikmin here, so we definitely need to get a full squad of each color of Pikmin before we can do so. So we'll call back these ones, and the other one that is carrying back a berry that actually should even out the numbers again if the gauge on the left, the little red bar, is accurate. It should even out here, which is nice. So we will have 5 in total by the end of this day, hopefully, again, if the bar is correct, and we are going to basically swap out numbers. This is what we were working on yesterday, by the way. Got partway through that, but we weren't able to actually use spicy sprays on all of our Pikmin just because we were really running short on time. So next up, let's call out the yellow Pikmin, use a spray, and then put them away, and then call out the next set of Pikmin. It is interesting actually having this little menu system for various actions like disbanding the group and using the spicy spray rather than having an immediate action like you might expect. Again, like in the older Pikmin games, you didn't have nearly as many functions, to be honest, so I feel like something like a wheel to actually select abilities like this is a little bit different, and a very different approach to that. We actually didn't even need a spicy spray for the winged Pikmin. Most of them were flowers anyway. I imagine that was largely because of the Quaggled Myroclops fight, where we mostly had winged Pikmin for that fight, so we probably had at least like 70 to 80 winged Pikmin anyway. Or 70 to 80 flowered winged Pikmin anyway, and we definitely have the most leaf blue Pikmin, because we really haven't seen blue Pikmin hardly at all, and there's the achievement for that. We have basically gotten almost every achievement, except a couple that are tied to the difficulty selection, but we will go over that at a later time. Obviously, we're still missing things like Picklepedia completion, given that we still have a few more enemies to find, and we're missing the badge for the final hidden murals in the next area, which we'll hopefully be able to find without too much trouble next time. So that was a fairly productive trip to the Twilight River again, given that the 3 small fruits are clumped together like that, and only take 1 Pikmin each to carry. It was essentially like we only had 3 fruits to find, making it very fast and efficient to actually get everything, even with the puppy blowhog over there getting in the way a little bit. Luckily it didn't cause too many problems, and only knocked 1 of the Pikmin off course. We actually never showed off this command either, where you can actually have the Drake call the Pikmin back in Deluxe, because we mostly just rounded up the Pikmin manually. But with that, we are almost done with our exploration of PNF 404. We only have one more area left. I can't wait to taste the new fruit. We've collected all the different types of fruit available on this planet's explorable areas. However, there are still some pieces of fruit out there. We should retrieve as much as we can. We've recovered every bit of fruit from all of the accessible areas. We now just need to find the cosmic drive key while we still have some juice supplies remaining. It looks like we cleaned out all of the edible matter in the accessible areas. From now on, we're going to be consuming our juice supply. If we don't find the cosmic drive key soon and get back to Kopai, this is great! We actually have a little bit of a juice buffer. A little bit of a juice buffer as we have 80 days worth of supplies, but we actually did reach 200 of each type of Pikmin, and overall this was a fairly straightforward day as expected. The main thing was just going back for the one fruit there and the winged Pikmin that was missing, and the rest of the day was mostly spent getting the berries and flowering all of our Pikmin. We've completed our mission and harvested all of the edible matter from this planet. Everyone on Kopai will be so happy to. Oh, but now I'm getting ahead of myself. We still need to get the cosmic drive key. Let's track that thing down and be on our way. It looks like we've gathered all the food there is to find on this planet. Yay us! We'll bring the seeds back to Kopai. Thanks to us, our planet is saved! But we shouldn't celebrate just yet. If we don't recover the cosmic drive key before our juice runs out, we won't be able to return home. I suppose we'll need to be more systematic in our search. And with that, we have one more area to explore, the Formidable Oak, which we'll be going to next time. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Pikmin 3 Deluxe.